Hello, I'm Kathy O'Bear, and I want to talk to you about self-care. I mean, the reality is, so many of us are feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, close to burnout, or maybe just over the line, having passion fatigue. Can you relate to the escalating, increasing demands that are happening in your organizations as well as society? People wanting more from us as change agents, and yet when you go inside, you realize you're running on fumes, you're exhausted, and if you're like me, you're beginning to feel sometimes helpless and hopeless. Now, to be honest, today is the day after the November 2017 election. So I'm feeling a little hope with Virginia, New Jersey, and a few other things, New York mayor. But lately, I have been feeling sometimes doubtful. Just a few weeks ago, I did a piece of work, and the next morning I woke up. It was a complex organization, just amazingly difficult situations going on institutionally, interpersonally, personally, people. And I woke up wondering, is what I'm doing making a difference? I just had a couple hours of just swirling. And then I went and worked out with some motivational music, and all of a sudden, I got a little bit of energy back, enough to get focused on my work for the day so I could be of service. But I have that roller coaster. Can you relate? Some days I'm feeling good about my work in the world as a social justice change agent, and others, I just have trouble getting out of bed. Sometimes I feel like I get just enough sleep to get up and be able to do what I need to do that day, maybe get a walk in. So I just refuel enough. But one bad situation, one difficult moment, and I can feel like, what's the purpose? Are you pushing yourself way past reasonable? Are you saying yes to too many things? Are you in a work environment where they keep coming asking you for more because the good work that you do, the more that you do, the more they keep asking? But the challenge is in most of our organizations, whether the community social justice change agents or where we work for money in the world, most of those organizations do not support us taking good self-care. Try that again. Most of the organizations we work with do not have the infrastructure or the leadership to say it's important you take good care of yourself. That in fact, self-care is critical so you have the energy, the fortitude, and the resilience to keep showing up, keep trying to create change for the people you serve, for the organization, and for our society, our world. In fact, most organizations want you to do more than you can, and they see you as replaceable. So you're beginning to feel that your lack of self-care is affecting you personally, your personal relationships, your time with important people in your life, whether they're children, friends, family, partner. You're beginning to realize that you're fraying around the edges. Are the warning signs beginning to catch up to you? So one of the resources that I share in my course are how much you need self-care right now. So I thought it might be useful to read out a few that are so true for me these days. I'm feeling more tired and stressed all the time. How about you? So on a scale of 1 to 5, or if you want a 1 to 10 scale, how overwhelmed are you? You drop what you're doing to handle the next crisis, realizing that it's impacting your health, it's impacting your relationships with people at work as well as at home. And are you finding you have little time to be creative and innovative? You're just nose to the grindstone and you keep going, just depleting yourself more and more each day. Do you realize that you interrupt time with family, partner in order to take a work call, in order to get on that emergency, that everything seems to be an emergency? Are you working late several days a week? If you look at the last month, how many days have you really been home for dinner? How many days are you home to really spend quality time with people you care about, whether that's virtually or in person? And if you're like me, you find you're working more and more on weekends just to catch up. Now, I do still have fun on the weekends, but I find sometimes I don't want to socialize as much with friends because that feels depleting as opposed to regenerating. Because I just have enough quality time with myself, my partner, and then I just want to sleep. Or you're finding you're more forgetful and confused. You're like, wait, what was that? If I don't write something down, it doesn't get done. Are you making silly, avoidable mistakes? You're missing deadlines. You're dropping the ball. You're cutting back on sleep just to get things done. Wake up in the middle of the night, obsessing, have trouble to get back to sleep. I could keep going, but I'm beginning to feel a little like, oh. A key warning sign for me is I feel more judgmental and irritable. And it's impacting my relationships. It's harder for me to want to get up and do good work. I'm increasing tension, conflict in the workplace. Are you finding this? You're finding there's a decrease in productivity. You're in meetings all the time, but you're not having productive meetings. And that's because you and maybe so many others need more self-care, and you need community care. Because it's not just about us improving our self-care. It's about having the tools, the skills, the activities to help others find it in their own lives and change the organizational climate, culture, the practices, so we value people taking care of themselves so that they can show up and be of greater service in the moment and long term. So, are you feeling weary, hopeless, helpless, a little more apathetic, more cynical? And are you afraid that you might stop out, maybe even drop out? These are all signs of when I'm getting close and my people I work with and coaching and training are getting close to passion fatigue, or close to burnout. And the challenge is when we burn out, it takes so much more energy, effort, investment to get back to even a moderate level of energy to be useful and of service to others in the community and in our work environments. And so I want to help people recognize when they're starting to feel stressed, burned out, passion fatigue, so that they can intervene on themselves, intervene with others before we get past that point of no return. I've burned out several times in my life. I was just going so much, the Energizer Bunny. I didn't believe I deserved self-care. I thought I have so much privilege. I'm taking advantage of privilege to do it. People with so many marginalized identities can't do self-care. And the truth is, if we all don't do self-care and community care, we won't be there in times of crisis to keep going and respond, to take care of each other, to do the change work in the world and our organization that is so critical. So how do you take care of yourself? Well, it's not all that easy. You got all these warning signs, and yet we just keep going. You know, Audre Lorde had that great quote. I've come to believe that caring for myself is not self-indulgent. Caring for myself is an act of survival. And so one of the first steps to take care of ourselves is to notice all the things we say to ourselves that self-sabotage any effort to take maybe a little more sleep, a little more me time, a little more quality time with people you care about and friends. I'm not talking about going out and doing activities you don't enjoy that really are more depleting. I'm talking about quality care. But so often we self-sabotage. We say to ourselves, I don't deserve, or I should be working, or other people are working. And so one of the first steps is to recognize what are those self-messages you give to yourself that keep you going way past the point of normal, reasonable, and undermine any effort to take better care of yourself. It's not selfish. It's not self-centered. In fact, you can't pour from an empty cup. We cannot show up for others if we're depleted, if we're exhausted. And so I want to share with you tools, strategies, ways of being so that you take better care of yourself and you build it into your day, not just a long weekend away that costs money or a massage every month. Yes, if you have the resources, those help, but many people don't have those resources. Many people need tools and skills they can build into literally every day, morning, evening. And it doesn't take a lot of time to really notice when you're feeling depleted, to use the body compass from Martha Beck so you're really scanning. Actually, do this moment right now. Take a moment, take a deep breath, and go inside your body and notice your body sensations, notice your feelings. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you need self-care right now? And if it's higher than a 1 or a 2, you'll be able to, with this course I'm teaching, have tools in the moment to shift how you're using your time, to be much more planful. Most people think they don't have time to plan, but if we don't take the time to notice how we're using our time every day, what's bringing us joy, what's replenishing, what's depleting, and what leaves us feeling, we can change easily, almost like puzzle pieces. Take out an activity that's depleting and put in one. I know when I'm so close to burnout, I just want to sit and watch movies. And so there have been times in my life I'll just find movies or on Netflix, 2, 3 movies. While I'm doing it, I'm not eating carrots and celery, let me tell you. So I might be eating things that are depleting my energy as well. And just changing how I use my time when I'm close to burnout, whether it's a walk with my partner, whether it's watching a podcast that is rejuvenating, whether it's taking that nap for an extra hour or 2. This weekend I took a 3-hour nap. I needed it. And then I woke up and I was much more present, took the whole day off to be with my partner, to do fun things with friends. And the next day, I had the energy to be much more focused on the work that I want to do in the world. So I'm teaching this 6-week class, In It for the Long Haul, Overcoming Burnout and Passion Fatigue for Social Justice Change Agent. It's starting January 5th. Be 5 weeks, Friday mornings. We'll come together for open coaching calls, and I'll be there the entire time. We'll create a community of learners where we just share about where we are, how we're feeling, and realize you're not alone and that there are tools and strategies. And you'll have a number of videos that I have that show tools, strategies that you can use for yourself as well as share with others. I have tools, the whole course that I just taught a couple of weeks ago that I recorded to give to you so that you can see how you can use all the activities that I do in my workshops. How do you actually do them and share them, whether it's going to be in a group or one-on-one. And these are tools you can use as a supervisor, one-on-one with people in direct reports. You can use them in team meetings to help everyone think about how they can do community care more effectively. How do we shift the dynamics that actually are pushing us past the point of no return? And you can use them in training workshops. So these are practices you can use to help people recognize the critical need for self-care, to change the group norms in our community groups and our work groups, that you have to keep pushing yourself. And all these self-reflection activities and tools to change your life right now before it's too late. So that you increase your energy, your resilience, your capacity in the short, medium, and long term to show up for others in ways that aren't depleting, but actually are regenerating your energy while you're of greater service, creating social justice, social change. To be able to rekindle your passion for the social change work, because if you're like me, there were moments, not only I questioned why I'm doing this, how I'm doing it, am I making a difference, but also, why should I do this? It's so easy, particularly those of us in our privileged identities, to question why are we doing this, because there is pushback, there is challenge. We lose some access to our mentors possibly. We're not in the club as much anymore. We don't get invited to those meetings where people get the coaching and development. When you're a change agent out of your privileged identities particularly, there are costs. And so it's so easy to say, why bother? And to think it's really the folks in their marginalized identities, they should be pushing, it's their issue. Well, hell no. We're all in it together. When I'm not showing up to create social justice and I'm colluding and going along with the dynamics of privilege and marginalization, when I'm just letting dynamics of oppression happen all around me, I just am trading my humanity for that moment of not having to be out there doing the work. I lose self-respect for myself. I lose the respect of my colleagues and friends. It may feel easier to drop out for a while, but the loss of self-esteem, the shame, the guilt, we need to be out there in our privileged identities, partnering across difference, partnering across power and privilege to do our part. I'm not saying to lead. I'm not saying to be out there being the one who out of the savior identity, nothing like that. I'm talking about to have the energy, the resilience to show up and do our part. And when we're asked to lead, and we're asked to do administrative work, it's important that we have that sustained energy and not drop out of our privileged identities, supporting the people in their marginalized identities who've been out there for years, decades, centuries, while we in our privileged identities have sat back and just enjoyed all the fruits of the oppression, which seem like benefits, but they're really not. We're trading our soul, our humanity for them. You can live a joyful life as a change agent. You can have sustained energy. You can have more passion in your life, whether it's for social justice and passion for family, for partners, for communities, for friends. What I want to do is in this course, In It for the Long Haul, help everyone understand what is burnout, passion fatigue, and how close they are to getting there. What are the warning signs that you're also close, all too close? And more than that, to get into why do we neglect our self-care? Why do we push ourselves so hard? Whether it's guilt and shame, passion for change, wanting to make a difference, seeing some movement. But when we get so close and we're so burned out, then we don't have the energy to keep going. We can't work with others effectively. And that's one of the biggest challenges when we're in community groups or in work teams. If we're all stressed and burned out and all this tension, we don't work effectively. So even if there's a good idea our conflict, our triggered moments, we don't have the capacity and the resilience to keep going. And so we actually have more fights, more misunderstanding, and it just depletes all of our energy, and we just don't have good decisions, don't have good projects, programs, services to really push forward, so we're not really doing our job. In this course, I'm going to help people look at why we sabotage, why people push back when we start to have good self-care, that half day, that day when we're taking care of ourselves, whether it's work environment, whether it's family, friends, our partners, our children, elders in our lives. Because if people see us taking care of themselves, we're holding up a mirror, and either they have to do it or they have to try to undermine us. And so tools to recenter self-care in your life, to deal with the self-sabotage and the backlash sabotage from others, so that you have the energy, the tools and the skills to teach others, support others in your life, to have greater self-care, so that together we have the community of change agents to have the resilience for the long haul to create the change we know that has to happen. And maybe off of the little wave of energy from yesterday's election results, we realize we can and have to make a difference, and we have to keep pushing and going. Not pushing past the point of being useful, but keeping self-care, refilling, go out to be useful, refill, out to be useful. So we're not stopping out, dropping out, we just keep going. And for folks that want to do this or want to be in my 6-week course starting January 5th, if you're listening to this, I'm still giving out some scholarships, and I'm willing to give one to you. Half-price scholarship. So instead of $19.97 for 6-week course of online coaching with me, community coaching, 4 to 6, 7 hours of videos to help you see the tools, a workbook of all the activities that you can use for yourself, use to share with others. So if you're interested, you can be on my website, www.drcathyobear.com/self-care program, all one word, self-care program. So www.drcathyobear.com/self-care program. You can find information there. You can sign up for half-price scholarship. And if you wanted to sign up to talk with me to learn more, you can go to the website, Call with Kathy, all one word, www.callwithkathy, Kathy, and sign up for a time to talk to me personally to understand more about the course, the coaching, the resources, and how you can be an incredible change agent for yourself and help others to stay in it for the long haul as we continue to create change and create the world that we know is possible. Thank you for listening, and if I can be useful, I look forward to a conversation with you. Take care. Bye-bye.